Good morning. I'm General Richard J. Valenti, a Warren native and chairman of Warren's Memorial Day Committee. This year it's somewhat unusual in that we, because of the coronavirus, we've got to maintain physical separation, so we cannot conduct the ceremonies that we usually do with the parade, etc. So we are conducting this ceremony as a videotape, which will be played on the town website on Memorial Day. Let us ask, why do we observe Memorial Day in the first place? Something that began long before any of us were born. When President Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address in 1863, he was attempting to explain to the nation why they were undergoing such a horrible loss of life and enduring the most costly and terrible war in our entire history. 5 years later, in 1868, when General John A. Logan issued General Order 11, it was an attempt to formally begin a commemoration annually of all those that had lost their lives in the Civil War. He caused the nation to stop and reflect upon the terrible sacrifices that were made to reunite the country and abolish slavery. The horrible loss of life in the Civil War was beyond anything we can even imagine today. It dwarfs the losses we suffered in World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam in total. There wasn't a family anywhere in the nation that wasn't affected in some way. By the war's end in 1865, nearly 1 of every 4 military-age males alive in 1860 was dead, an unbelievable total of over 600,000 American lives. Starting in 1868 and continuing to this very day, every year we reserve the last Monday in May to commemorate and honor those who died serving our country, so that the rest of us can continue to enjoy the freedoms and liberties guaranteed in the Constitution. In closing, I would like to ask that on Monday, as you go about your everyday activities, please take a minute and remember those that have lost their lives so that you and I can enjoy the liberties we do today. There's a difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day in that on Veterans Day we honor all living veterans. But this year, I want to ask you to particularly remember World War II veterans who are leaving us at an unbelievable rate. In 1945, there were 16 million veterans alive. Today, there are less than 300,000 World War II veterans. So if you know a World War II veteran, please go up to him and thank him for his service. We will now conclude the introduction and move to the town common and continue the ceremonies there. Thank you. Present,
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets twinkling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today we are here to honor those that have served our country and given their lives so that we may stand here and still live in freedom. We need to be constantly reminded of our gift of freedom and of those who gave all to make sure future generations continue to know life in a free, democratic society. Remembering those who have passed is only half of the task that is before us today. We must also carry their love, honor, and duty forward to the future generations that will pass. Our children must know who they were, what they did, and why they did it. To do anything less will be a disservice to their sacrifice and their memories. Those that are gone created a clear pathway for us to continue on. We must never waver from that path of freedom and democracy. Take their memories, take their dreams, and walk forward shouldering the cause of freedom. Carry it high and proud. They did, and now you must walk forward for them and for our children.
All yours.
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met here on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of it as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little know, nor long remember what we say here, but can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they have thus far so nobly carried on. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. Think better.
Over a century ago, during the height of World War I, a Canadian soldier, doctor, and poet, Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, composed this poem after witnessing the death of his friend and later presided over the battlefield funeral. He wanted to relate how quickly the poppies grew over the graves of his fallen comrades and life went on. Colonel McCrae himself died of pneumonia by war's end and is buried with his fellow soldiers in France. The bright red Flanders poppies are resilient flowers. They flourish in the midst of so much chaos and destruction, growing thousands upon thousands. After the war, Colonel McCrae's poem inspired people here in the United States, Australia, the United Kingdom, and France to adopt the poppy as the official symbol for the memory of those who have fallen in the war. Each year, millions of poppies are sold with the funds given to various veterans groups. This is Colonel McCrae's poem. In Flanders fields, the poppies grow. Between the crosses, row on row. That marks our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders fields. take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. And if ye break with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Very good, Mike.
Final roll call. Did you hear the news today? Another warrior has passed away. Called by the Supreme Commander of all, today he made his final roll call. From fellow vets, let reverently pray for our commander who has fallen this day. Of beauty hears these glorious colors, the red, white, and blue. The Star-Spangled Banner he fought to defend. Underlined on Dalton he fought to win. He fought bravely and passed every battle test. Now the Supreme Commander grants him eternal rest. With warrior's honor he committed to the ground. The rifles will volley and taps will sound. The military honors render solemnly and sadly. O glory will be folded and given to his family. At Memorial Day we recalled old comrades' names, attest that their sacrifice were not made in vain. Their lasting legacy left for all generations is to respect our flag and defend this great nation. So close ranks of aging warriors, for our ranks are thinning. We must keep fighting and must keep on winning. With pride and honor, we'll march and stand tall and proudly salute, O glory, till we make our final roll.
Okay.
Why don't you move over to
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. The Lord has promised good to me, His word my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures.
Thank you. Good morning as we continue our Memorial Day ceremonies from the town wharf. Warren has had its back on the sea for over 200 years. In the 1700s they were building small coasting schooners that traveled up and down the East Coast. In the 1700s, 1798 in particular, the frigate USS General Nathaniel Greene
was built right here in Warren and launched on this waterfront. So Warren has a long, noble tradition with the sea. Many of Warren's sons have gone to sea in the service of their country. And so we are commemorating their service also here at the waterfront. Our next portion of the ceremony will be a placing of a wreath in the water by our naval veterans.
Eternal Father, strong to save, whose arm hath bowed the restless wave, who bids the mighty ocean leave its own appointed limit keep. Oh, hear us when we cry to thee for those in peril on the sea. Lord God, and guide the ones who fly through the great spaces in the sky. Be with them always in the air, in darkening storm or sunlit fair. Oh, hear us when we lift our prayer for those in peril in the air. Eternal Father, grant, we pray, to all Marines, both night and day, the courage, honor, strength, and skill their land to serve, thy law fulfill. Be thou the shield forevermore from every peril to the corpse. Lord God, and guide the ones who fly, and those who on the ocean fly. Be with our troops upon the land, and all for their country stand. Be with these guardians day and night, and may their trust be in thy might.
We remember today all those who have come before us and given the greatest gift to our democratic nation, their lives. Their duty, their honor, and their lives are precious gifts that must be given to the future of our country and our families. The duty of our veterans, past and present, is the fiber of the word freedom and is stronger by our recognition of service and sacrifice. We honor that service and sacrifice today and should carry it forward for our children to honor. Freedom and democracy are the result of all of the most honorable this country has produced. Today we stand to remember the most honorable amongst us, and we must continue to carry the burden of their sacrifice, lest we lose sight of what true freedom is. Today is for remembering. Stand in honor of them. Walk in their path of duty. Remember the cost, and hold in your heart the cause of freedom. We remember today, Memorial Day 2020, our veterans who have given that most precious gift, the gift of their life, in the service and defense of our country.
I'd like to thank everybody that participated this morning in this ceremony. First, Father Doug, the pastor of St. Mary's of the Bay in Warren. Amanda Beaulieu-Smith, who's been singing at Memorial Day for 25 years, I think you told me. Fire Chief Al Gallinelli, Navy guy. Captain Vinny Fender. Chief Petty Officer Bob Hanley, a friend of mine. Stalwart, Sergeant Mike Clancy in the background. He jumped out of airplane. He never did any better. Steve Scuba, our bugler today, another Navy guy, and my wife Sharon Cirio Valente, Gold Star Mother, Blue Star Mother, and I'm General Valente, and thank you all. Patrick, thank you.